I don't remember deciding to be a nurse, but I must have. My interest in nursing stems from an interest of anatomy and how the different systems of the body work. It's important to me to know what physiologically is happening to me when I'm sick and understand what it means. There are so many people around me who at one time or another are ill. To be able to learn about helping those who are ill and be instrumental in their getting back to health would be a very fulfilling experience. What the hell did I know?
Oh my gosh.
Kailyn, Angie, and Milly. Hi. Hi, everybody. Helicopter.
Helicopter.
Helicopter. We don't get far from any vehicle, right? This is where I belong, right here.
That is.
So I grew up in the projects in Brooklyn, and we moved in 1957 when they were first built, and my brother and I were 5 years old. And the projects were separated by race or religion in those days. It's really weird. They had, like, there was a Chinese projects, there was a Black projects, there was a Jewish projects. And I didn't even know that. It didn't even dawn on me that most of the people in my projects were all Jewish. It dawned on me that was weird because I was only 5. We had about 5 Black people, one of whom I'm still friends with today, and we've talked a lot about what it was like growing up in a Jewish project, you know. I don't know how she ended up there, but we've talked about that a lot. Around the holidays, there were the electric menorahs in the windows. So yes, everyone around me was Jewish, and we all had different ways of being Jewish. Again, I was more secular and cultural. There were 64 families in the building, and there were 4 buildings on each block. And our apartment was totally new. We had 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, living room, and a kitchen, but a dining room kitchen. But it wasn't a big apartment, but compared to where we were, it was incredible. You know, when I was little, I remember there was a bird that was hopping around. There's something wrong with his leg. And so I got the bird and I tied this little thing around, and I don't know if it healed. I thought it healed. But I wanted to heal things. I wanted to fix boo-boos. My mother's, our neighbor was in a car accident. She had quite a wound on her leg, and I used to change her dressing. I don't know if I was 12 maybe. So I always was interested in it, you know. See, I became a nurse in 77, 1977, by the way.
Is that when you were in New York?
No, that was when I was here.
Okay, got it.
So I grew up in Brooklyn. I came out here in 72 and became a nurse in 77. I got an associate degree in nursing. And then I went back to New York in 79, and that's where when AIDS hit the fan. So I had a friend of a friend, little Jonathan. He was the cutest little guy, very, very pretty, very, very petite, and he was the first one we lost. He got sick with respiratory, and he was gone within like a week, or I don't know. It seemed very fast, at least when I found out about it. Extremely difficult emotionally, and it was extremely difficult medically because you constantly had to be learning new meds and new everything because it was just coming up. Everything was new. And it was scary because I didn't know if I was going to get it or not. You know what I mean? And if you get it, you're dead, at least at the beginning of all that. And my whole community was dying. You know, we lost such incredible talent in our community on all levels. You know, in my heart, I knew what I was, but I didn't put a name to it. And, you know, yeah, but my sister was already out. She came out when we were 11, and my brother came out when we were 17. So I was like, you know, I wasn't a holdout. It just didn't happen until it happened, you know. So for me to be gay by the time I came out was not a big hooey. And even my extended family was not bad, you know. I was very, very lucky.
For her activism.
She did anything that came her way that she thought was wrong. So when we moved into the projects, they were new and there were no stop signs. So she and some of the other mothers got a carriage brigade, and on the corner where they wanted the stop sign, they stopped traffic. And I said, what'd you do, throw us in the middle of the intersection and hope the cars stop, you know? Yeah, something like that. But so that was one thing that she did. Also, there was so many kids, you know. I told you, 4 buildings on a block, 64 families in a building, and then all these blocks. It wasn't just, so where is everyone going to school? We're very poor planning. So a lot of us had to go to school where we couldn't get there without being driven, and no one drove. I mean, you know, the dads would go. My father, we didn't have a car anyway, so they had to bus us. And they decided that they wanted our parents to pay for the busing. So, and then just through the years, you know, certainly the civil rights movement, racial equality, and then the gay movement, because all 3 of us were gay. And what are you going to do? Can't beat them, join them. So, and she started Parents of Gays, which became Parents PFLAG. Parents of Gays was just her and her little friend, and they made T-shirts, a yellow T-shirt with, you know, those kind of velvet letters that you can iron on.
Yeah.
So it was Parents of Gays. And I have a picture of her with me, with my ex-wife, with our son, and with my niece, and with my mother-in-law at the gay parade, and she's wearing her little T-shirt. So when we were very little, you know, girls more often mature faster than boys, so I had it all over him. And I talked first. My mother would say, Bobbie, come here, what is he saying? And I had to translate our gibberish into English so that my mother knew what was going on. And I would take everything from him, and he'd sit there in the middle of the room, Ma, you know. And as time went on, he got bigger. He was always bigger than me, but he could use it. Then I had to pay. We fought physically a lot. But we were passionate about each other. Strong emotions every way. He struggled with school in elementary school, and it was real easy for me. Junior high school, I just started rebelling, so I didn't do well. And he did well. He was actually salutatorian, so that's second. Valedictorian, so he was salutatorian in school. He was in honor school, and he was valedictorian in high school. When we were 16, he had his first suicide attempt, and he had 6 attempts until he finally succeeded when we were 22. He was bipolar, and would have serious manic episodes and serious depressive episodes. And you kind of never knew what was going to be with him. And I was a teenager. And I was not very worried about him because I was in my own life. And I mean, he hitchhiked when we were 17. He hitchhiked to San Francisco, and then came back. Yeah, so he ran away but kept calling, so we knew he was okay. Then I worried about him, but after the first suicide attempt, that was real scary for me because as a twin, at least I felt like we were a unit. Advice on, when I was having trouble with things. But I knew that he wasn't, I knew the last time I saw him was New Year's Eve in 74. And I knew that I just had this feeling I wasn't going to see him again. And then about a month before, he called me and he said, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this. I'm an animal. I'm not functioning. And I just told him, I said, listen, you do what you need to do. I said, I'm very, very proud of you. You try so hard. And that was the last thing I ever said to him. And I'm glad I did, because in his diary of his last week, he said, I told my sister and she said she understood. And I said, thank God he left with that.